It's been a little while since I've done a movie review, so I apologize. I've tried, but I haven't been able to. You see, what happened was, in December, I made the mistake of reviewing the Star Wars Holiday Special. And I've been trying to wash it out of my mind ever since.
We can have a good time, can't we? Oh.
Come on, Mama, let's see a little smile. Come on. There, that's better.
I am on the road to recovery, so as part of my ongoing treatment, let's go ahead and review a movie today. Alright, let's see. Yeah! The Running Man. Damn, it's dusty as hell. By 2017, the world economy has collapsed. Food, natural resources, and oil are in short supply. A police state divided into paramilitary zones rules with an iron hand. Television is controlled by the state, and a sadistic game show called The Running Man has become the most popular program in history. All art, music, and communications are censored. No dissent is tolerated, and yet a small resistance movement has managed to survive underground. If any of this sounds familiar, it's because that whole idea of this dystopian future where a corrupt government has some kind of like killer game show is not a new idea anymore. We've seen it in movies like The Hunger Games, and even The Purge in a way is kind of like that. But those are missing two crucial aspects: the great Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, and that 80s action vibe. The Running Man is based loosely off of the 1982 Stephen King novel of the same name. I don't know how similar or different it is from the original story, but the movie's a typical Schwarzenegger action fest you would find sprinkled all over the 80s, full of over-the-top characters and cheesy one-liners.
Sign here. Here. Ah! I love you! Yes! Don't forget to send me a copy. Give you a lift?
Let's go ahead and explore this world of the far, far future of 2017. A future where there's been extreme technological advancements such as coffee and toast, CRT television sets, and Alexa.
Lights! Toast and coffee.
And everyone is obsessed with the Running Man game show, where the government provides prisoners, usually innocent people framed for crimes, to fight for their lives on live TV, mixed in with musical dance numbers. The prisoners trying to survive are called runners, and the crazed killers hunting them down are called stalkers. Bets are placed in the streets on who will win, and a live audience cheers wildly for murder. And I find it hilarious how a large number of the audience is middle-aged women and senior citizens screaming for blood. Usually one of them is selected at random to choose who the next stalker will be. But my favorite audience member has to be this old lady. She is hardcore.
Who do you think will make the next kill?
Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please bear with us. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Bullshit!
And the host and main villain of the movie is Damon Killian, charismatic and witty.
Hi, cutie pie. You know, one of us is in deep trouble. You know who I am?
I've seen you before. You're the asshole on TV.
That's funny. I was going to say the same thing about you.
He's so believable as a TV show host, I had to look it up and see if he had done TV shows before. Turns out he was the host of Family Feud in the 80s, so it made perfect sense from a casting point of view. And in a world run by TV networks, we're bound to get some RoboCop-style commercials randomly popping up throughout the movie. But my favorite is an appearance by Jesse Ventura, the sexual Tyrannosaurus that doesn't have time to bleed.
Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed. Bunch of slack-jawed faggots around here. This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
In The Running Man, he plays Captain Freedom, the most legendary stalker that has ever participated, and he is an American hero.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready for Captain Freedom's workout.
Yes, it's America's own Captain Freedom.
That's the ticket. No pain, no gain.
America's own.
When you hear the tone, control your jealousy and leave your message.
Going back to the main star of the show, Arnold plays Ben Parker, the newest contestant of The Running Man. And how did he end up on the show? Well, he was originally an officer working for the government. One night on a mission to stop people from rioting for food, he was ordered to kill everybody, and he refused, and this got him in trouble.
I said the crowd is unarmed. There are lots of women and children down there. All they want is food, for God's sake.
As you were, Richard. Proceed with Plan Alpha. All rioters must be eliminated.
The hell with you.
Detain Richards and proceed as ordered.
Get him! Pitch it over! Richards, you're gonna fry for this.
And I'll see you in hell.
Then Richards got thrown into a work camp along with other prisoners from the rebel group fighting against the tyranny of the government. And we get a glimpse of him carrying a heavy beam with his Herculean strength. Almost the same shot from Commando, where we see him carrying a heavy log. You know, some of the plot points in this movie have a ton of similarity to Commando, which makes perfect sense because they were written by the same writer, Steven D'Souza. In prison, Richards joins up with these rebels and makes a plan to escape, but it's not so easy because the collars they wear around their necks explode if someone tries to escape. Chico! It's not gonna make Chico! But they find a way to disable the perimeter, and a major breakout ensues.
You're a hell of an actor, Laughlin.
Who is acting?
Well, you're still alive, aren't you?
Richards plans to find his brother, but a Spanish woman called Amber Mendez lives there now, since his brother, who he doesn't mention again for the rest of the movie, was taken away by the government. A government that's been editing the footage from the riots to make Richards look like a monster.
Ben Richards, the brutal slayer of 60 men, women, and children in the Bakersfield Massacre.
Food riot in progress. Approximately 1,500 civilians moving in.
Yankee 99er, the crowd is unarmed. Repeat, unarmed. Abort attack. Acknowledge Yankee 99er.
The hell with you.
Lieutenant Sanders, take command. Detain Richards and return to base. Acknowledge Yankee 99er. Acknowledge. Return to base.
How did they even get those close-ups of his face? Did they have a camera floating next to him the whole time? I guess it's like a movie within a movie. They literally took footage from the actual film.
Fire! Cease fire!
Anyways, when Richards goes to the apartment looking for his brother, he finds this stranger. And while trying to convince her that he's innocent of any crimes, he ironically commits several crimes. Breaking and entering.
Now listen to me, because I'm only gonna say this once. This is all a lie. I was framed. I'm completely innocent. Now be quiet and stay still.
Hi, this is Amber. I'm not home right now. I'm out somewhere having one.
Assault.
Money. That's what I need. Money.
Robbery.
I'm warning you, I get sick. Air sick, car sick. I'm gonna throw up all over you.
Go ahead. Won't you on this shirt?
Kidnapping. Eventually she rats him out by punching him in the nuts in public, and guards take him out with a Nerf gun.
You're dead!
And that's how he ended up on The Running Man, sponsored by Adidas, along with two of his rebel friends. But Mendez, in time, realizes that the TV station has been lying about everything.
Richard's hostage, Amber Mendez, was unharmed. Some airport personnel were not so lucky, like the ticket agent and security guard Richard shot at point-blank range when he arrived at the airport.
But that's not true.
They were taken to...
So of course, she tries to dig up the truth and finds herself as a contestant too, with some creative reporting made about her also.
She cheated on college exams, had sexual relationships with 2, sometimes 3 different men in a year.
That was a lie.
The movie really gets going when they get forced into the show. The contestants get put into these capsules that send them rocketing through Disney's Space Mountain in order to get to the arena. And the stalkers that go after them each have their own awesome gimmicks. They might as well be Mega Man villains. You've got Professor Sub-Zero, who has hockey gear with explosive pucks and razor-sharp hockey sticks. Let's call him Iceman. But, like his Sub-Zero namesake demands, he gets put in his place by a fatality.
Fatality.
Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
What does that even mean? Let's draw it out and try to figure this out here. Okay, so here's a temperature gauge of some sort. There's 0. So Sub-Zero is some kind of master of coldness. So I guess he's down here somewhere where it's really, really cold. And then when he gets killed, he's not a master of the cold anymore. So that puts him back up here at 0. Plane 0. Then you have Buzzsaw, who carries some heavy, powerful chainsaws. And I heavily enjoy this guy. He's completely insane, and he just drives around in his motorcycle cutting people. Let's call him Cutman. And he probably has the worst death of all, by far.
Kids, I love the song. The song's part of me. And I'm gonna make it part of you. That's all right. Keep it.
Ooh. Oh, he's getting ballsack blood on his face. And then Dynamo. This stalker is absolutely ridiculous, and I burst out laughing every time I watch this movie. He's this fat dude wearing what looks like a bunch of light brights strapped to him. If you don't remember what light bright is, it was this popular kid's toy back when I was growing up. I have no idea whether it's still around now or not. And Dynamo has this gear that gives him the ability to shoot electricity, but his greatest feature are his magnificent vocal cords. Let's call him Elecman.
Quest'anima consola e giubilar mi fai giubilar e giubilar mi fai
And like any electric villain in a video game, his weakness is water. Then there's Fireball, probably the most boring of the stalkers. He's just this guy with a flamethrower that barely talks, and he doesn't really have much of a personality. He wears a ridiculous silver suit, and he's got a jetpack, and he was never much of a threat to the runners. Let's call him Fireman.
How about the light?
Since Richard seems invincible after surviving every attack, the TV studio is forced to unleash their greatest weapon, Captain Freedom. And he's pissed because they try to convince him to wear this costume that makes him look like Man-at-Arms from He-Man. It looks stupid.
I was killing guys like this 10 years ago with my bare hands. I'm not going for any of these tricks. This is a sport of death and honor. Go to the gladiators.
But Richards escapes with the rebels and he's nowhere to be found, so they come up with a simulation to make the crowds think that Captain Freedom is fighting him. And this is where he displays his raw muscular strength. Let's call him Gutsman.
You know, the damn thing worked like a charm.
It should. Edit'll charge us an arm and a leg for the software.
This was kind of disappointing, because these two characters never really met face to face. I thought it would have been awesome if these two barbarians were just ripping into each other. And another thing, this movie seems perfect for a video game adaptation. Why didn't we ever get one? I mean, Beethoven, of all things, got one. Beethoven. That movie about a dog. Well, turns out there was a Running Man video game for some older consoles like the Amiga. You know, that's not fair. I didn't even have one. I had an NES, an SNES, Genesis, like a ton of other kids. I would have totally played this. But at least we got something similar in Smash TV, which was inspired by the Running Man. Same concept. The contestant in a deadly game show has to blast his way through enemies. If you haven't played this classic, check it out. Back at the rebel base, Richards prepares himself to attack the TV station with the other rebels, and they hack the video feed showing unedited clips of the riot, showing how much the government has lied to the public, sending the crowd into a frenzy, resulting in an action-packed shootout.
It's showtime. Get the people out! Come on! Get the people out!
Richards tracks down and confronts Killian, he begs for his life like a little bitch, and he gets a taste of his own medicine.
One of us is in deep trouble.
You look pissed, Ben. But hey, will you just let me explain? This is television. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with people. It's to do with the ratings. We're #1, Ben. That's all that counts. Drop dead.
I don't do requests.
Why did that randomly explode? He crashed into a billboard.
Well, that hit the spot.
And just like Commando, the movie ends with the main character getting the girl as people look on as random 80s music plays. If you're a fan of cheesy macho action movies and you haven't seen The Running Man, go pick it up and give it a watch. If you're not interested, well,
fuck you.
If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and a comment down below letting me know. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on social media. You can also check out some of my other videos or click my Patreon link if you'd like to support GamerThumbTV. This is Fabian. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.